Namaste and welcome to GAP. Today our topic of discussion is BRICS. In this session we will cover about BRICS, its formation, organization involved, objective, challenges, BRICS Currency Plan, and also in the end we will also know about BRICS Summit of 2023 and what is BRICS Plus. So without further delay, as always let's begin our exciting and informational journey. First, we will understand about the location of BRICS countries. In Asia we have Russia, China and India. In Africa we have South Africa, and in South America we have Brazil. So, all these 5 countries formed BRICS. About BRICS. BRICS is an acronym for an association of 5 major emerging national economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries, collectively known as the BRICS nations, have come together to promote mutual cooperation, economic growth, and influence on the global stage. The formation of BRICS marked a significant shift in the balance of global power and has since evolved into a prominent platform for diplomatic, economic, and political discussions. The BRICS were originally identified for the purpose of highlighting investment opportunities and had not been a formal intergovernmental organization. Since 2009, they have increasingly formed into a more cohesive geopolitical bloc, with their governments meeting annually at formal summits and coordinating multilateral policies. BRICS holds annual summits, during which the leaders of member countries come together to discuss and address various global issues, including economic cooperation, development, and geopolitical matters. Here we can see the current BRICS leaders. Mr. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is President of Brazil. Mr. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia. Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India. Mr. Xi Jinping, President of China. Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa. Now here are the few key facts. BRICS contribute 42% of the world's population, 26.6% of the world land area, 23% of the global GDP, 17% of the world trade and 13.2% of the world voting power. Formation of BRICS. The idea of BRICS was first proposed by economist Jim O'Neill in 2001, who predicted that these 5 nations would become major players in the global economy by the year 2050. The term BRIC was coined, representing Brazil, Russia, India, and China. In 2010, during the 3rd BRIC summit in China, South Africa was invited to join the group, and it became BRICS. The inclusion of South Africa brought a representative from the African continent to the bloc. The first BRICS summit was held in Yekaterinburg, Russia, in 2009, where the 4 original members discussed global issues and potential areas of collaboration. Since then, annual summits have been held, and the group has steadily grown in influence. In this slide we can see the head of states who attended the first BRICS summit. Organization involved. BRICS primarily operates through 2 main institutions, the New Development Bank, NDB, and the Contingent Reserve Arrangement, CRA. New Development Bank, NDB. The NDB, often referred to as the BRICS Bank, was established in 2014. Its main goal is to finance infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS countries and other emerging economies. The bank provides an alternative source of funding for development initiatives, reducing dependence on traditional financial institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The agreement on the NDB specifies that every member will have 1 vote and that no member would have any veto powers. The bank is headquartered in Shanghai, China. The first regional office of the NDB is in Johannesburg, South Africa. The second regional office was established in 2019 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, followed by Gift City, India and Moscow, Russia. The bank will have starting capital of $50 billion, with wealth increased to $100 billion over time. Contingent Reserve Arrangement, CRA. The CRA was created as a financial safety net for BRICS countries in times of economic crisis or currency volatility. It aims to provide liquidity support to member countries to prevent balance of payment crises and stabilize their currencies. The CRA complements existing international financial arrangements and enhances the financial stability of the BRICS nations. The 5 countries will set up a $100 billion pool of currency reserves to help countries forestall short-term liquidity pressures. China, the region's largest economy, will contribute $41 billion to the CRA. Russia, India and Brazil will contribute $18 billion each, while South Africa will contribute $5 billion. The CRA is generally seen as a competitor to the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and along with the New Development Bank is viewed as an example of increasing South-South cooperation. Objective of BRICS. The BRICS seeks to deepen, broaden and intensify cooperation within the grouping and among the individual countries for more sustainable, equitable and mutually beneficial development. BRICS takes into consideration each member's growth, development and poverty objectives to ensure relations are built on the respective countries' economic strengths and to avoid competition where possible. BRICS is emerging as a new and promising political diplomatic entity with diverse objectives, far beyond the original objective of reforming global financial institutions. Challenges faced by BRICS. Economic disparities. Despite being major emerging economies, BRICS countries have significant economic disparities within their borders. Geopolitical differences. BRICS member countries have diverse geopolitical interests and stances on various global issues. External economic factors. BRICS countries are not immune to global economic fluctuations. Trade and market access. BRICS countries often face trade barriers and protectionist measures in international markets. Access to healthcare and education. Providing universal access to quality healthcare and education remains a challenge in some BRICS nations. The BRICS Currency Plan. First is monetary policy. The BRICS countries are working on a plan to create their own currency, with the possibility of establishing a monetary policy independent of US influence. Second is trade agreements. The BRICS currency could make trade between BRICS countries more efficiently and potentially shift the balance of power in global trade. And third is internationalization. The BRICS currency could also challenge the role of the US dollar as the primary global reserve currency, potentially leading to a more multipolar system. Now, we will understand about Summit of BRICS 2023. The BRICS group of major emerging economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa will hold its 15th Heads of State and Government Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. The summit will held from August 22nd to 24th at the city's Sandton Convention Center, after the country took up the one-year rotating chairmanship of the BRICS group in January this year. It will be the first in-person BRICS summit since the COVID-19 pandemic. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, President Xi Jinping of China, Brazil's President Luiz Lula da Silva and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi are expected to attend the summit. Vladimir Putin will be a virtual participant, and he will be represented in Johannesburg by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. BRICS 2023 theme, BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development and Inclusive Multilateralism. What are the priorities of BRICS 2023 Summit? There are 5 priorities of BRICS 2023 Summit. First, developing a partnership towards an equitable just transition. Second, transforming education and skills development for the future. Third, unlocking opportunities through the African Continental Free Trade Area. Fourth, strengthening post-pandemic socio-economic recovery and the attainment of the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development. And fifth, strengthening multilateralism, including working towards real reform of global governance institutions and strengthening the meaningful participation of women in peace processes. Now, the most interesting part: what is BRICS Plus? More than 40 countries have expressed interest in joining the BRICS group, with 23 nations having formally applied for membership. 69 countries have been invited to the summit, including all African heads of state. A strategically expanded BRICS would be seismic for the world order, principally in economic terms. The main reasons for expanding BRICS can be attributed to strengthening of the East-West conflict, the deepening of BRICS Plus cooperation, and the demands of node countries. BRICS Plus presents a platform for developing countries, enabling them to increase their representation in global governance. Recently, South Africa has confirmed that 23 countries are likely to join BRICS. On 11th August, India's MIA, Minister of External Affairs, spokesperson Mr. Arindam Bagchi said that discussions are underway at Sherpa level regarding the criteria and procedure for the expansion of the BRICS group. They are approaching this with a positive mind and positive framework. He also refused to any claims that India was against any such expansion of the BRICS bloc. In the world there are many different economic or financial groups. Here is the list of most important economic groups. These groups are formed to strengthen and learn from each other, to maintain peace and stability in the region. promote international trade and fix prices of their commodities. Conclusion. The BRICS group has emerged as a powerful alliance of major economies that seek to promote cooperation, stability, and inclusive development on the global stage. Through the NDB and the CRA, BRICS countries have established financial institutions that provide an alternative and complementary approach to the existing international financial system. As the world continues to face complex challenges, BRICS will play a crucial role in shaping global conversations and fostering sustainable growth in the years to come. So, this brings to the end of today's session. I hope I have been able to make you understand all about the BRICS, and I hope whatever doubts you had, it's been clear now. If you have any questions for us, you can comment in the comment section or email us. We would be happy to help. Thank you for your time. Stay safe and stay happy.